What new evidence forced authorities to reopen conversations many thought were already settled? And what really happened in the final hours before September 11, 2025, the day the world lost Yu Menglong? If you stay with me until the end of this video, you're going to see how new contradictions, hidden timelines, and shocking witness accounts are reshaping everything we thought we knew. You'll understand why fans are refusing to stay silent. And you'll discover the one detail that could change the entire narrative of Yu Menglong's death forever. Because this isn't just about an interrogation. This is about truth. On September 11, 2025, the news hit like a thunderclap. Yu Menglong was gone. The cheerful actor who once lit up screens with effortless charm, the man whose smile reassured millions, suddenly reduced to headlines and unanswered questions. Fans across China and beyond flooded social media with disbelief. How could someone who seemed so full of life disappear so suddenly? At first, the official explanations sounded straightforward. Tragic. Painful. But straightforward. Until they didn't. Whispers began to circulate. Small inconsistencies in statements. Timeline gaps that didn't quite align. Reports that certain people were unreachable in the immediate aftermath. And at the center of it all, the manager. The man who handled Yu Menglong's schedule. His contracts. His public appearances. His private logistics. The man who knew everything. When the manager was first questioned in late 2025, it appeared procedural. Standard protocol in high-profile cases. He answered calmly. Confidently. He stated that Yu Menglong had been resting the day before September 11. That no unusual behavior had been observed. That everything was normal. But what does normal really mean? Fast forward to now. Authorities have reportedly called him back for a second, more intense interrogation. And this time, the tone is different. Sources close to the investigation say investigators are focusing on inconsistencies between his original testimony and newly reviewed digital records. Phone data. Security footage timestamps. Rideshare logs. Access card entries. Technology doesn't forget. According to insiders, one of the most mind-blowing elements revolves around a phone call made just hours before Yu Menglong's death was announced. Initially, the manager claimed he had not spoken to him that night. But call records allegedly show a brief connection, less than 2 minutes, at an unusual hour. 2 minutes. What was said? Was it an argument? A misunderstanding? A cry for help? Or something completely different? Even more shocking, a building staff member from the residence where Yu Menglong spent his final hours reportedly told investigators that the manager had visited the premises earlier that week, something never mentioned publicly. Why omit that detail? Fans immediately connected the dots. Online forums erupted. Hashtags demanding transparency trended for days. Many believe the second interrogation signals that authorities are taking public concerns seriously. Others fear it means something far more complicated is unfolding behind the scenes. And then there's the deleted message. Shortly after the news broke on September 11, 2025, a post allegedly appeared on a private fan group account claiming that Yu Menglong had been under immense pressure from undisclosed professional commitments. The post vanished within minutes. Screenshots circulated. The source of the message remains unclear. But speculation quickly turned toward management decisions. Was he overworked? Were there contractual disputes? Did financial pressures play a role? Industry insiders know how intense the entertainment world can be. Smiles on camera don't always reflect reality behind closed doors. Projects stack up. Expectations rise. Brands demand perfection. And managers often serve as both shield and enforcer, protecting their clients while also pushing them to meet obligations. Some former colleagues have described Yu Menglong as dedicated, sometimes even too dedicated. He rarely complained publicly. He maintained composure during exhausting schedules. But did that silence hide deeper struggles? The renewed interrogation suggests investigators are digging into professional pressures leading up to September 11. Contracts signed in early 2025. Negotiations that allegedly stalled. A rumored disagreement about a major endorsement deal. Imagine the scene, a closed office. Raised voices. A decision that could affect millions in revenue. A star caught between personal limits and corporate expectations. Now imagine that same star, days later, no longer here to clarify anything. That's why this second interrogation feels different. It's not routine anymore. It's personal. It's detailed. It's forensic. Another layer adding fuel to the mystery involves security footage from the building's underground parking area. Reports claim that a vehicle linked to the management company was recorded entering late on September 10, but the manager previously stated he had not visited that night. Could someone else have been driving? Or was it simply forgotten in the chaos? Investigators are said to be cross-referencing GPS logs from company vehicles. If proven inconsistent, it could drastically shift the direction of questioning. And here's where things become even more emotional. On the anniversary memorial livestream held earlier this year, fans noticed something unusual. When the manager appeared briefly to express condolences, his demeanor seemed strained. Some viewers described it as guilt. Others said it was grief. Body language experts online dissected every micro-expression. A tightening jaw. A downward glance. A pause before answering a question about regrets. Of course, grief affects everyone differently. But in a case already clouded with suspicion, every detail feels amplified. The most haunting question remains unchanged: what truly happened in the final 24 hours before September 11, 2025? Timeline reconstructions suggest Yu Menglong attended a private meeting 2 days prior. The subject of that meeting has never been officially disclosed. Some claim it involved renegotiating his workload. Others insist it was unrelated to his career entirely. But investigators are reportedly reviewing surveillance footage from that location as well. If new evidence contradicts prior statements, legal consequences could follow. It's important to remember, being interrogated does not equal guilt. Authorities re-question individuals all the time when new data emerges. But the fact that this case refuses to rest speaks volumes. Fans aren't demanding drama. They're demanding clarity. For months, supporters have organized digital campaigns honoring Yu Menglong's memory while calling for transparency. They've archived interviews, compiled timelines, even translated legal terminology to better understand procedural updates. Because when someone beloved passes away under unclear circumstances, closure becomes a collective need. There's also the human side of the manager. A man who worked closely with Yu Menglong for years. Shared victories. Navigated controversies. Helped build a career that inspired millions. Could he be hiding something? Or is he simply trapped in a storm of suspicion amplified by grief and public pressure? The second interrogation may not immediately provide answers. Legal processes move slowly. Evidence must be verified. Statements cross-checked. Assumptions avoided. But one thing is undeniable: September 11, 2025, is not just a date. It's a wound. And every new development reopens it. Imagine the weight of sitting across investigators who already know more than you think. Documents laid out. Phone records printed. Screenshots enlarged. Questions asked in different ways to test consistency. Are you certain you didn't speak to him that night? Why was this vehicle present? Can you explain this timestamp? Silence stretches. A sip of water. A recalculated answer. Meanwhile, outside those walls, millions wait. This case has become bigger than headlines. It's about accountability in an industry where power dynamics are often invisible. It's about mental health conversations that are frequently brushed aside. It's about the unseen pressures placed on public figures who feel obligated to always appear strong. If the renewed interrogation leads to new findings, it could spark industry-wide changes. Stricter workload regulations. Greater transparency in management contracts. Independent wellness oversight for artists. Sometimes, tragedy forces reform. But until official conclusions are released, speculation must be handled carefully. We honor Yu Menglong best not by spreading rumors, but by seeking truth responsibly. Still, you can't ignore the chills running down your spine when you consider the timing. The reopened questioning comes just months after certain sealed documents were reportedly reviewed by higher authorities. Coincidence? Or catalyst? The manager walked into that building again knowing the world was watching. Cameras captured his arrival. No smile. No wave. Just a deep breath before stepping inside. Whatever happens next could redefine everything. Was September 11th, 2025, a tragic inevitability? Or were there warning signs someone missed or ignored? And if answers finally emerge, will they bring peace, or even more shock? One thing is certain, this story is not over. Justice is not a hashtag. It's a process. Slow. Uncomfortable. Necessary. YU MENGLONG'S legacy deserves clarity. His fans deserve transparency. His family deserves truth. As developments continue, we will keep following every update, every statement, every confirmed fact. Because staying informed is how we transform grief into awareness. Now I want to hear from you. Do you believe this second interrogation signals a breakthrough in the investigation? What do you think could have happened in those final hours before September 11th, 2025? Do you believe there were warning signs that the public never saw? Inside that room sat the man who once moved through life beside YU MENGLONG like a shadow. His manager. His scheduler. His gatekeeper. The person who knew where he was supposed to be, and when. And now, once again, he was being questioned. This time, insiders say, the atmosphere was completely different from the first round of questioning back in late 2025. Back then, it was routine. Procedural. Almost calm. But this new interrogation? It reportedly felt surgical. Precise. Unforgiving. Investigators didn't start with small talk. They started with timelines. Printed sheets were laid across the table, phone logs, entry records, movement data. According to sources close to the situation, the focus has narrowed sharply on the final 48 hours leading up to September 11th, 2025, the day that shattered millions of hearts. And here's where things get chilling. During his original statement, the manager reportedly insisted there had been no unusual communication between him and YU MENGLONG on the night before the tragedy. Everything, he claimed, had been normal. Quiet. Uneventful. But technology has a way of rewriting stories. Investigators are now said to be zeroing in on a short phone connection, brief, almost easy to overlook, that occurred during a late-night window. Not a long conversation. Not an obvious emergency call. Just enough to raise eyebrows. Inside, sources describe the moment investigators allegedly slid the call record across the table. No accusations. Just one calm question. Can you explain this? Imagine the pressure in that room. Because in high-profile cases like this, it's often not the loud contradictions that matter most. It's the small ones. Even more intriguing is what reportedly followed. Authorities are said to be comparing that phone activity with location data from multiple devices linked to the management team. Not just one phone. Not just one timestamp. A pattern. Or at least, that's what they're trying to determine. Fans who have been following every twist since September 11th, 2025, immediately sensed the shift. Online communities lit up overnight when rumors of the second interrogation surfaced. Many longtime supporters say the renewed focus suggests investigators believe there are still unanswered questions buried in the timeline. And then came the parking garage mystery. This is the detail that has truly set speculation on fire. According to emerging reports, security footage from the residence linked to YU MENGLONG's final hours allegedly shows a vehicle associated with the management company entering the underground parking area late on September 10th. But here's the problem. In earlier accounts, the manager reportedly indicated no visit had occurred during that window. Now investigators are said to be carefully examining vehicle GPS history, access card swipes, and even building elevator logs to determine exactly who was present and when. Picture investigators replaying grainy footage frame by frame. Headlights cutting through the darkness. A timestamp blinking in the corner. A license plate coming into focus. Moments like that can change everything. Of course, it's important to stay grounded in facts. Being questioned again does not mean wrongdoing has been proven. In complex investigations, especially involving public figures, authorities often revisit witnesses when new data surfaces. But what makes this situation emotionally charged is the context surrounding YU MENGLONG'S final weeks. Several industry insiders have quietly described early 2025 as an unusually demanding period for the actor. Multiple overlapping commitments, tight filming schedules, brand obligations stacking one after another. On the surface, YU MENGLONG continued to appear composed, professional, smiling in public appearances the way fans had always known him. But behind the scenes, that's where the uncertainty lives. One former production staff member, speaking anonymously in entertainment circles, claimed there had been internal discussions about adjusting YU MENGLONG's workload months before September 11th. Nothing officially confirmed. Nothing publicly documented. Just quiet concern. Now investigators are reportedly reviewing whether any professional pressures may have intersected with the final timeline being reconstructed. And this is where the manager's role becomes even more central. Managers in the entertainment industry don't just handle calendars. They negotiate. They buffer stress. They relay demands between agencies, brands, and artists. They often know when their client is overwhelmed, sometimes before anyone else does. Which is why every detail in his testimony matters. Another moment that continues to circulate among fans is his brief appearance during the memorial livestream earlier this year. Viewers remember the pause before he spoke. The visible tension in his shoulders. The careful choice of words when he addressed YU MENGLONG's legacy. Was it grief? Was it exhaustion? Or was it simply the weight of public scrutiny? Body language analysts online have dissected the clip endlessly, though experts caution that interpreting emotional signals from short video fragments can be highly unreliable. Still, the unease hasn't faded. What investigators appear most focused on now is consistency. Not just what was said, but when it was said. And whether digital evidence aligns perfectly with human memory. Because memory can blur under stress. Data rarely does. Behind closed doors, the second interrogation reportedly stretched longer than the first. Question sequences were repeated in different wording. Time gaps were revisited. Minor details re-examined. This is standard investigative technique, but in a case already surrounded by public emotion, every development feels amplified. Outside the building, cameras waited. Fans refreshed news feeds. And somewhere in the middle of it all sits a timeline that still isn't fully understood. The final 24 hours before September 11th, 2025 remain the most sensitive window. Investigators are said to be reconstructing movements almost minute by minute: who contacted whom, which devices were active, what locations were confirmed. If even one detail shifts, the entire narrative could evolve. There is also growing attention on digital message activity during that period. While no official statements have confirmed the contents of any private communications, reports suggest authorities are carefully reviewing whether any conversations reflected unusual stress, urgency, or changes in tone. Again, nothing publicly verified. But enough to keep the case very much alive. For fans of YU MENGLONG, the emotional toll has been heavy. Many have spent months archiving interviews, preserving fan memories, and advocating for clarity. Their message has remained remarkably consistent. They don't want rumors. They want answers. And perhaps that is why this second interrogation feels so significant. Not because it proves anything on its own, but because it confirms the story is still being examined carefully. Justice, after all, rarely moves in straight lines. Sometimes it circles back. Sometimes it asks the same question twice. And sometimes, the smallest overlooked detail becomes the one that matters most. As this investigation continues to unfold, one thing remains clear: the legacy of YU MENGLONG is far too important to be left in uncertainty. Every verified update brings the world one step closer to understanding what truly happened in those final hours. But the biggest question still hangs in the air. What did investigators see in the new evidence that made them call the manager back again? And will the next development finally bring the clarity fans have been waiting for? I want to hear from you. Do you think the second interrogation will uncover something major? What detail in this timeline feels the most suspicious to you? And do you believe there are still missing pieces the public hasn't seen yet? Drop your thoughts in the comments, I read every single one. If you want more deep dives like this, make sure you like this video, share it with other fans who care about YU MENGLONG'S story, and subscribe to the channel so you never miss any breaking updates. Your voice matters in this conversation.